Hi guys, welcome to Sheria. Sheria is a platform where we educate the common mwananchi on the law with the aim to equip and empower you. Karibu sana. Today we're shooting at Sema Studios, which is a really good place if you're interested in doing a podcast or shooting content. Kindly check out their page on Instagram, Millenium Work Depot. That's an entire word, Millenium Work Depot, and get to book yourself a session. The facilities are really nice, the people are really kind, and you'll definitely enjoy it. So today we're going to deal with a really different topic. It's on criminal law. We're going to handle death penalty. So what's death penalty? Death penalty, also known as capital punishment, is a sentence provided under the law in the penal code. Now, in what instance is the death penalty given? The death penalty is given to people who have been convicted and found guilty of having committed 1. Murder, 2. Robbery with violence, or 3. Acts of treason. Now, the death sentence was last executed in 1987 when Hezekiah Ochuka and Pancras Okumu were hanged for being found guilty of committing treasonous acts. They, I believe, attempted a coup d'etat. Now, contrary to popular belief, the death sentence is very, very lawful. In 2017, the Supreme Court of Kenya, in the famous case, Francis Muruatetu versus the Republic, the Supreme Court of Kenya held that the mandatory death sentence is unconstitutional. So now that seems to be a bit confusing when you hear it at the first instance. Let me explain. The decision of the Supreme Court did not abolish the death sentence. What it did, it abolished the mandatory nature of the death sentence. This means you could be found guilty of having committed murder, yet not be given a death sentence. You can be given life imprisonment. Now, what the courts do is look at the circumstances surrounding that murder, or rather that crime. How it was committed, the intention, what provoked it, how basically every circumstance surrounding it. And then it now gives a sentence. Many organizations have come up and have geared efforts towards the abolishment of the death sentence on grounds that the same is against the human rights of the person who is involved. So one may ask, where is Kenya in this entire process? How far have we gone with it? Now, there's a bill in Parliament. It's called the Penal Code Amendment Bill. It proposes to abolish the same and also affect other laws that provide for the death penalty. Now, so far, as the bill is still in Parliament, so far the presidents who have been in power since 1987 have worked to and exercised their presidential powers to pardon people who have been sentenced to death and given them lesser sentences of life imprisonment. So one may ask, why do the courts continue to issue this sentence if it's not being executed? The sentence, I believe, is issued by the courts to deter people from committing those 3 crimes, to show the seriousness of the crimes and show that it's not something that's going to be accepted in the society. Remember, one of the reasons why we have the courts is to be able to protect, not only to enforce the law and help in its enforcement, but to protect the citizens. So, what next after the death penalty? Is it the end? Is there any hope? Yes, there is hope. It's not the end of the world. So what happens is, one who has been convicted and found guilty and sentenced to death can do what we call an appeal. So what's an appeal? It's you going to a higher court than a court higher than where you are and opposing or saying the way this matter was decided, it does not satisfy me. This decision is not satisfactory. So being the first time your matter is being listened to, the court will look at, number 1, the facts and also the law. This means they look at how the facts were dealt with, how the evidence was handled, and how it relates to the law. They'll also look at how the law was applied to your case. So yes, there is hope and there are chances that your appeal could succeed. However, my advice, stay on the right side of the law. What can we learn? What's the takeaway from all this? Number 1, the death penalty is legal and is still being issued by the courts. Number 2, the 3 instances where one can be sentenced to death. That is murder, robbery with violence, and treason. And finally, my advice, even as the organizations and the lawmaking bodies make efforts towards the abolishment of the death sentence for promotion of human rights, I would advise that we all know that this is something that is still there, it's still issued, and we stay on the right side of the law. I hope you've learned something today, and I hope that will be helpful to you. Please remember to share, like, comment, and subscribe. Send this to your friends so that they may know what not to do. And remember, there's a bell that's down there. You can always click on it so that anytime we upload a new episode, you're notified. Until next time, stay blessed.